That's me just like being the klutz that I am. But thank you so very much. That was very cool, and it's always a treat to hear from you as well as everyone here. Thank you guys. That's cool. I'm gonna read, and then maybe we can do a round of 2 poems for each person to close out the first Poetic license open mic in 2023. I'm going to pick things to read from a bunch of different books because that's what I do. I'm the book lady, I guess. This first one I am going to share with you appears in the annual collection book that was released because we do an annual book every year, and it's called Running Out of Time. And it is also a poem that happens to appear in the poetry book Shattering the Glass Ceiling, which I believe I've talked about one too many times. But the thing is, in this book, in both of these books, I have it in English as well as in Farsi, which I so have to show. Hey, I had a Poetic license book holding this page for you guys. The poem is called The Men at the Construction Site. I know it's hard to see it on this thing, but I'm trying to show it off anyway. But it's in Farsi as well, because I have an Iranian friend that was able to translate these things for me, which was really cool. And this is a short poem that is in both of these books, and it is titled The Men at the Construction Site. A woman told me that scientists did an experiment where a woman first walked past a construction site with her head down. No one bothered her, no one noticed her. Everyone at the site left her alone. Then, later in the day, she walked past again, in the same outfit, with the same stride, but this time she walked with her head up, more confidently. And that's when she got the calls, the whistles, from the men at the construction site. And you tell me it's not deliberate. And you tell me it's not an effort to keep women in their place. That was Men at the Construction Site. I closed it for it, but it exists in here in Farsi as well. That was my only poem from that book that I'm going to share with you. The next poem I'd like to share with you appears in, now that I'm getting my book done, appears in The Gravity of Imagination from Down in the Dirt, and it also appears in the Periodic Table of Poetry. I can't believe I'm doing this, but why not? This is a poem that is titled, Okay, It's All About the Oxygen. Oh, and actually in these books they both have, but it's so tiny to see it in black and white that I have an image of it as well, because each of the, back in the day, the periodic table poems would have this jump poem and it would say something about every element that I did, so that's in the book too. But anyway, this one is called Okay, It's All About the Action. Number 8, the periodic table. Okay, so I like to think of myself as a history buff. And no, I don't pay attention to American history or even the details of like ancient Roman Empire or anything. But for the most part, I'm not even interested in the history of people. To quote Linus in Peanuts, I love mankind, it's people I can't stand. Yeah, I know, my history's older than the human race, like how this solar system formed, or the Earth, or how did this planet, was it able to actually sustain life so that we humans could sit around thinking about this stuff. As I said, when I think history, all I can do is gather evidence and theorize, but really, that just shows that there are times when I'm actually transfixed over truly more universal puzzles. So look, I know I've studied way back to when matter didn't even exist yet in the universe, or how matter formed. I know theories about how asteroids are bringing the building blocks to life into this planet. And sure, scientists scientists think comets brought water to planet Earth too. But when I think of early Earth, like when it formed, it was a real mess. There was constant bombardment with objects from outer space. Volcanoes were going off constantly, and the atmosphere was all sulfur and methane thanks to the volatility of Earth Mach 1. And, okay, comets may have brought water, and water has oxygen in it, but really, back when the atmosphere was a bunch of non-breathable stuff to us humans, okay, So, because there was no oxygen in the atmosphere, any life that started on Earth, Mach 1, probably thought oxygen was poisonous, because, hey, I know that there's nitrogen in our atmosphere, but if there was no oxygen, it was replaced by sulfur, and then we couldn't live. But on early Earth, and they're living with a sulfur-rich environment, they may find oxygen to be toxic to them, right? Okay, so I know the universal historian inside of me wanted to know how oxygen actually got into our air, so human life, or any life as we know it here on Earth, could actually begin. Okay, so paleontologists study fossils, and they found some that are 200 million years old, like in Earth Mach 1. Think about it. This was cyanobacteria from 200 million years ago, near what scientists now call the Great Oxygen Event, where it is where they call let me say that again. The oxygen event, which is what they call the biological induced appearance of oxygen in the air. Well, anyway, in Earth Mach 1, any oxygen that existed or was actually just dissolved by the molten iron, that same iron that formed Earth's inner core, I imagine. But the thing is, the cyanobacteria use photosynthesis. They use photosynthesis, making oxygen. And once there was so much oxygen that it couldn't be dissolved into the saturated reserves, all that oxygen stayed in our atmosphere instead. I don't know. I keep trying to piece together this puzzle, but this whole universe puzzle is pretty massive endeavor. I mean, okay, all matter that we can monitor only takes up maybe 4% of this universe, and I still don't know how to fit the idea of dark matter into this puzzle I've been working on. So maybe I'll have to reassess learning everything about the universe right now and just stick with stuff like the oxygen that's all around me instead. Oh my gosh, that was a long one. But that one appears in the Gravity of Imagination and the Periodic Table of Poetry book. And I am going to share one more poem with you, and it is also a periodic table poem, and I thought this would be a perfect one. It's not only in this book, but it's also in the cc&d issue collection book titled Unable to Escape It. Unable to Escape It. And I thought originally that this was kind of a lame, I'm like, I don't know if this would be appropriate to read. It's for the element indium. And you're like, well, what's the point of that one? But then I thought, oh, wait a minute. We're all sitting in Zoom meetings where everything we're doing is on the screen and we're interacting with each other, which makes actually this a perfect one to end this reading for you guys. This is indium. As I touch the screen display, I see images of words moving along the small LED screen. I feel you there, just on the other side. I say I've never needed you, but you've always been just on the other side, displaying what I wish to see, lubricating what cannot meld together. You're as brilliant to me as a shining silver metal, but you've been so fluid that you melt when I see you. And that may be why you've always been just on the other side when it came to us, and only allowed me to admire you like this from afar. Indium is used for screens, and I just thought we're all living in the screen world right now, so that just seemed like a perfect thing. And I got to show off that I painted my nails for from New Year's because they're all different colors. I'm like, I got little stubs for nails, but at least they're fun, festive colors, and I've got purple lipstick on because, yay, it's celebration time. Anywho, if you guys are up for it, we can do a round of 2 for you guys. Why not? And then Jeff can read some poetry for us, and that would be triple plus awesome, I hope. So I hope that our next poet, which of course is our Zoom host, and he always says, sorry for putting up with me, but he is our Zoom host, so he's allowing this to happen. So it's never putting up, it's always an honor to hear you. So John, after you, Susan would read. If you've got 2 poems, it's all, the stage is entirely yours, John.